I'm not fussed about men's opinions, to be honest with you, because half of them don't know what they're talking about. You might not believe this. I knew I wanted to do something in football. They're the exact skills that, BBC Radio are after, and you never know. Where do I go from here? Why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Like, there's no reason to feel that. Mortifying.
We're back with Game Face Off. Emily, Herbert, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Very in awe of this top.
Thank
Please
you.
talk us through it.
Thank you. I found it in a charity shop, believe it or not. So I had to buy it. It's the AC Milan Champions League final, 2007, and it's got Ronaldinho on the back. So I thought,
So good.
I've got to have it, hidden away. And then when you just kind of like skirt a like polo across, and then you see it, and it's like shining.
Was this like a London charity?
Yeah, it was in Muswell Hill, so it's
Oh.
quite an affluent area.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the places
That's
to
a
go.
golden pocket, that place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We start every podcast
Yes.
episode with asking you one word to describe yourself with your game face off and one word to describe game face on.
Okay.
On the mic, live and direct.
Okay, live and direct on the mic. I think on the mic, it's fairly easy. It's focused. Quite a boring one, but you've got to be focused for like 90 minutes of the game. Otherwise, you miss it. But I think off the mic, which people might not expect, is I'm quite forgetful. So I'd say, yeah, I'd say forgetful for off the mic. Like anniversaries, birthdays, out the door. I'm not good with numbers, so I don't remember anything, really. Which contradicts with my job, really, is remembering stats and facts for games and stuff. But yeah, if you saw my calendar, it's minute detail. It's color coded because I just forget everything.
Do you have to put everything in then to remind
Yeah.
yourself? Otherwise, it's not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I'm freelance as well, jobs come in, they come out. There's so many different companies.
Mhm.
So if I don't have them in my diary, I won't be working that day.
I've actually, because I colour code as well in my diary,
Yeah.
but there's not really much of a rhyme or reason to it. I just go for what colour I felt like was the vibe for that,
Sure.
that thing. But do you have colour codes for certain jobs and...
Yes. So all my commentaries are in green.
Okay.
All of my BBC stuff is in yellow.
Okay.
My fun stuff is in purple. List goes on.
Let's just start from introduce a little bit about what you do and just for anyone that doesn't know what your role is.
Okay, so I'm a football commentator, essentially. So I go to football games and have a really old-fashioned microphone. It's a Coles microphone. That might look a bit funny to some people. It kind of like sits just below your nose, over your mouth. And I talk into that for 90 minutes of the game. Sometimes I've got a co-commentator with me, so a pundit, like an ex-professional footballer or something, someone like that. Sometimes you do it on your own, depends what company or what game it is. And yeah, I just talk about football for 90 minutes, describe what's happening on the pitch.
2 questions for that. One that's like ridiculous and one that's a little bit more normal. Is it warm? With a
The
little bit of,
microphone?
yeah, because you've got a little bit of extra,
Yeah, like you have to
on a
keep
cold
wiping
night.
it because
It's a bit sweaty.
yeah, because you get sweaty, and also like you're talking all the time into this. It's quite close to
Yeah.
your mouth, so obviously the saliva goes onto the microphone, so you have to wipe it, otherwise it like slips off.
But it must be quite nice when it's like cold weather. You've got a little bit of a...
Yeah, I guess, and you've got headphones on which
Yeah.
act like earmuffs.
Okay.
So in the cold weather, it's okay. It's still pretty bad.
Do you prefer solo or co-coms?
Co-coms
Do you?
every day of the week. Yeah,
Really?
because one, you can have a conversation, you can bounce off
Yeah.
them, and 2, there's just someone else there. Like you're not on your own. There's not as much pressure on you
Mm-hmm.
because there's someone else there, and then they can give insight. So when you're on your own, you're describing and analysing. When you're with a co-com, you're just describing and then they're analysing.
Do you feel a little bit like deer in headlights trying to like work out what you're doing, or you can't really think about what you're doing, you're just doing it?
So I'm fairly new to the game, and that is something I always worried about, is like I'm quite a prepared person. I have a lot of notes.
Mhm.
But actually when you're in the flow of it and when a goal happens, you just speak, like you just talk whatever comes out. And 9 times out of 10 it's fine.
For you. It wouldn't be for
Yeah.
me. I'd be like, can I actually redo that? Can we go
So,
back?
well, sometimes a little secret into the industry, they do make you redo it.
Okay.
So obviously if it goes out live, it's gone out live.
Mhm.
But for the highlights reel, if it's a bad goal shout, which I have had multiple times, to be fair, I've got to hold my hands up, they'll get you to redo it.
Just because they were like, oh, you could have said this better, or the term.
Yeah, exactly. Or as touch wood, it hasn't happened to me yet, but the wrong goal scorer,
Yeah.
for example.
This is the fit, because sometimes some of the goals are a hot mess. Like you can't
Yeah.
see clearly like who's just scored
No.
what. And presumably you're one of the first that has to give that out. So you're probably
You are
like
the
trying to,
you are the
yeah,
first, yeah. And if it's on the telly, so if it's off tube, if you're not at the game, if you're in a little booth and the camera cuts to the wrong goal scorer or doesn't capture the full goal, it's really hard. And then you have a structure of kind of waffling until you can find the goal scorer.
So you talk about your prep. Obviously, you say you're forgetful. I don't know how much I believe that, but okay. So you would do like notes and notes and notes
Mm.
to prep for that. Is that stuff that you retain, or is that stuff that's like it's in? I need it for this, and then I have to just go ahead and move on to the next game.
I think so for example, at the weekend I have a WSL game and I've done my notes for it and everything in my head now is for that game. But then as soon as that game's over, it will disappear and I won't remember it for the next week. And then the cycle repeats over and over again. Um, but I think when you're in there and when you're sat down and when you're ready to go, it's so focused and it's so like you know what people want from you, you know what you've got to do. It kind of just happens.
On average, the amount of time and effort you put into actually doing the prep before a game.
It's probably a day's work.
Yeah,
Like, depends what game it is. If it's a WSL game, I know more about it just generally, so I
you're
can do less
familiar with it.
prep. If it's a virtue trophy between Lincoln City and Notts County, it's like 7 hours prep because you've got to know names, pronunciation, stats,
Mm.
what club they've come from, if they're a new signing, how many goals they've scored, a little fun fact about them, who's the long throw-in person, who's the penalty taker, how many of them have they scored, the coach, the coaching staff. Occasionally, I don't worry about that too much. But there's so much. And then the general context of the game.
Hmm.
So there's a lot to know.
Yeah, like what's at stake as well. There's so many things in that as well. Like we'll go back to pronunciations in a minute because I feel like that's a whole thing in itself. But even the difference, obviously, you say you're more familiar in terms of the WSL side. Do you feel like the WSL though it's harder to actually attain some of those stats or get some of that information because it's not readily available, or do you feel like actually they're getting better and I go to like, I don't know, clubs directly or the comms team?
Getting better. The WSL is fine generally. It could be better. But it's when you go down the leagues,
Mm,
like WSL 2. For example, I did an FA Cup game with West Brom women. No idea.
yeah.
No idea. There's no stats, there's no facts. Luckily, the company I was working for gave me a fact sheet on everyone, so that was useful. But that's, you're not going to get that every time.
No.
So that's tricky. It is getting better. Like I use a website called FootMob, which some people will know.
Mhm.
And then you do ring the clubs directly, yeah, for the pronunciations.
What is that like? Because that I think would be my biggest fear. Is yeah,
Mispronunciation.
just because I feel like someone's name is their identity, right? So you want to get it right, you don't want to get it wrong. And clubs are getting better at the beginning of each season doing the pronunciation videos. But if you've got a new signing in, or if that player is kind of like lesser known and there hasn't been any commentaries or games where other people have kind of said that name, which you can try and draw it from, yeah, it's tough. No?
Yeah, it's really tough, especially online now where it's posted and
Yeah.
you won't know in the time what the name is. But then later down the line when the video is posted, obviously you've still got that pronunciation, but it's actually wrong.
Mhm.
And then you get slated online. And I totally understand that because we should have the pronunciations right, but sometimes it's really difficult to
Mhm.
find it, especially those lower teams. Um, it is getting better where the media people at the club are more willing to work with you and help out. But even then, sometimes they get it wrong.
Mhm.
I've had that before, and then it's like, well, what can you do?
Or if you hear multiple different versions, you're like, which one do I
Exactly.
go for?
Who do you go for? In that instance, I would go for the media
Yeah.
person because they're around them all the time. But even top commentators now still get pronunciations wrong.
Yeah. And I think people are held to different standards as well, almost depending on who you are to how much you get, as
Mm.
you say, called out online for stuff as well. Do you feel like there's a difference between, for example, like a female commentator getting called out online for saying something wrong versus a male comms?
Yeah, for sure. I think
Yeah.
you can see it in everything like we do. But it's not even commentators. It's every industry I think that happens in.
Hmm.
And it's sad because, you know, I'm just as capable as Jimmy next to me. You know what I mean? But because I'm a woman, I did a video talking about West Ham recently and I got a lot of hate on that. What I was saying was legit, like, it was totally right. It was an opinion at the end of the day, but it was a backed up opinion. But because I was a woman, it was, well, her boyfriend's just told her to say that and put that out. It's embarrassing. So it's difficult. That's another whole It's a whole nother conversation, I think, online abuse
Hmm.
for women in football and sport. But yeah, it happens, but you've just gotta have a thick skin, I think, and brush it off. If nothing gets said, it's good. Like, you've done a good job.
No news is good
Yeah,
news,
no
right?
news
Which
is
is
good news,
ridiculous,
exactly.
but that is, yeah.
Um, if obviously, if there's comments on it, like, I got on a men's game, I called it as an in-swinging corner instead of an out-swinging corner, and, there's tweets going, "This commentator, she doesn't know anything about this game," Sky Sports do better, but it just happens, and then you know for next time, I guess, and you get better and better, and hopefully there'll come a day where that doesn't happen.
Does that knock your confidence, and do you overthink it, or are you? Because even, for example, if you're in the middle of a game, like, I know what I meant to have said, and sometimes the word will come out a different word. I'm like, wait, I didn't actually mean to say that, but you're just, yeah, you're not thinking right, and then, or it's moved on or whatever else, and then
Mm.
that's a digital footprint of being
Yeah.
like, you said this and this is, and it's like, no, I actually meant this, but that's just the word that came out my mouth at that time.
Yeah, you just gotta take it and own it, I
Yeah.
think, and just learn from it, and next time, hopefully it won't happen. I've certainly made up words in the past, like blundered over the line. What does that mean? Kind of, like, shoved in on the goal line, I guess, but you you just learn with experience, I think.
There's real fun terminology in commentary, I think. I listen to sometimes The Commentator's View. Do you ever
Yeah.
listen to that? I think it's such a good podcast. I love that insight. What are your favourite kind of go-to lines that you use?
Oh, goes you like for like have you got a specific example of like
Um,
what's happened?
okay, I'll give you a couple. Like, one, we're going to go like a last-minute winner situ.
So I did the Liverpool women's game
Okay.
last weekend
Oh,
where there was two late
Mia
late
Enderby.
goals from Mia Enderby. So for example, you'd say something like "at the death," like they've won it at the death or something like that, and "can you believe it?" Just the little phrases like that give you some time, because there's a big difference between TV and radio as well. So I was doing TV for that one, so you can leave more time. You can let the pictures do the talking as
Mhm.
it is. So yeah, there's little snippets of things you can use that every commentator kind of notes, and everyone has their own little different details of
Yeah.
what that entails for them.
Did you always want to get into comms, or was it just kind of, it just happened naturally?
Yeah, it happened naturally. I was playing rugby growing up, played a lot of football, played a lot of sport. I thought I'm never gonna make it pro. I was never good enough to make it pro, and I thought, well, I want to stay in it because I love sport. So I did a placement at university, studied journalism, went to BBC Radio Leicester, where the sports editor at the time, Adam Whitty, was like, "Great, you play rugby. Let's put you on the sport team. We need women in sport." So I kind of did it. Didn't think anything of it. I was producing behind the scenes, and then he was like, "Give it a go." So I presented shows, presented match days, loved it, and I was like, "Well, where do I go from here? Like, presenting isn't really what I want to do." And then he was like, "Well, what about commentating?" So I was doing reports at the time, so just goal updates into a show, so like 15 seconds. And then it's just this season really that I've started commentating full time, on proper matches, which is fun. Recommend
Yeah.
it.
I feel like there's so much to it that I think people probably don't think about or don't realize. What would you say those things from your perspective are that you're like, actually, this is behind the scenes, or you have to do this extra work that people just don't see? They just see that finished product.
I think it's the prep,
Yeah.
probably. People don't realize how long that takes. And also you've got to have a relationship, I guess, with your co-com. Um, I like to keep it quite bouncy and fun and conversational. That's just like my personal style. Some people don't. So you've got to have a positive relationship with them.
Have you
Some
had situations where you've been in a co-coms and you're like, oh, this is going to be a long night?
Yeah, sometimes. I'm not going to name names.
No, I'm not asking you to. I wouldn't know.
But yeah, some people are better at talking than others. Some
Yeah.
people are better at um, bouncing off me. Like, I'm sure they've thought the same about me and my style. But yeah, probably the prep is the main thing, and how long that takes.
So you mentioned playing sport growing up, rugby, football. Do you
Yeah.
still actually play?
No, I don't have time. Okay, because I'm at the games.
I'm prepping.
I'm prepping, and I'm talking about the games when there'd be matches. So no, love to get back into it. I need to find a bit of a routine. That's actually something else that's hard with this job, is finding a balance, a work-life balance with, because I'm working all the time. And if I'm not working, I'm prepping.
Yeah.
It's finding a balance and actually having a life.
When it's
It's
your whole
difficult.
world as well, like, because you're obviously someone that loves sport as well, that the lines are sometimes a little bit blurred. Do you find? I
Yeah,
find this where I'm like, oh, I love sport, I live and breathe it. I want to go as a fan, but I also want to go because I'm working, so I've still got a job to do in a sense. But it's also like then, like, oh, my little life outside of this feels like sometimes it's getting smaller, and I'm like, I need to
yeah,
prioritize actually making sure I've got time for the stuff away from this. Do you find that as
yeah,
well?
and that's exactly it. Got better in the last year, I think, but, like, you'll know this being freelance, saying no to jobs is hard
Hmm.
because I'm sure we've both been in a situation where not a lot of work was coming in, and it's hard to pay the bills and the rent, etc. So saying no to a job is difficult to turn away because, one, I want to do it, and two, like, I need the money too to support myself.
Hmm. You almost have to, even if you've got something on, you almost feel like you have to bend over backwards to try and rearrange stuff to make it work. And you're
Yeah,
like, I can't, that's not sustainable to do forever.
yeah,
But I don't know about you, you then panic thinking, well, what if this is the last thing I'm ever offered
yeah,
or the last
exactly.
time I get to do this? Or, and you know, rationally, like it'll come around, there'll be other opportunities. But realistically, in the moment, you're like, oh, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to
Yeah,
make it work.
especially if you're new to the company.
Yeah.
Like TNT, I've only done one job for them. I've got a second one coming up, but they were like, "Can you do this day?" I was like, "Not really. I'm going away," and it's hard to kind of rearrange that. And it's exactly what you said. Like, you don't want to say no because you don't want to get a name for yourself for saying no to stuff. But at the same time, like, I need a life.
Yeah.
I'm 24.
I don't know about you, but I get messages quite often from people that are like 16, 17, 18 coming through that are like young women. I want to work in sport. I want to be in this industry. This is what I want to do. How do you get there? I always want to help and offer advice, but equally, I'm like, I'm literally just about like finding my feet with it now at 30. I'm like, you are in an incredible position because some of them have got so many things on the table, whether that's ecoms or degrees or like opportunities in terms of internships, apprentices, like the whole field is there. Basically, I wanted to be a PE teacher or an actress presenter. And that was like my two different things because I was like, I like sport, but I didn't think there was a job in it. Did you feel like you had a job option or was it a case of figure it out and see what we can do?
I think it was exactly the same for me. It was PE teacher or presenter at the time. I think that's probably quite a common story
Mhm.
in the work we wanted to go in. I knew I was never going to sit in an office 9 to 5. I can't
God, no.
concentrate for that long. Um,
It's not even 9 to 5 anymore, I swear, as well. It's literally
eight
like
to
9 to s
seven,
yeah.
yeah, it's horrendous some of the hours. So I knew I was never going to do that, and I knew I wanted to do something in football, and I was really determined to do it, to get there. I knew I was going to get there some way or another, whether that be a social media person for a club,
Mhm.
I don't know, a press communication officer, I don't know. I knew I wanted to work in football. And then the doors opened up, more women in football was shouted about, which has helped me a lot. More people have become more open about it. You know, we need to create equality in this industry. And then, yeah, the door opened up and you've got to you've got to take it. You've got to say yes.
That's the thing as well around saying yes. Like, I we spoke a bit about finances earlier, and that's the thing I think we all struggle with the most in this industry is, like, 1, as a freelancer, and 2, women's in sport slash women's sport that's just like scraping the barrel. Also, you need to find a balance that in those early stages that you have to put in the time and do things and opportunities for free to get your experience and your portfolio up. And I think it's trying to find a balance of that is like, when do you start getting to a position where you're
Mm.
like, actually, no, I can't keep like selling my soul all the time or bending over backwards to do these things as much as I want to. It's just not attainable to do that anymore.
Yeah, and that's hard, especially when you're young, to know the balance of, should I be charging here? Should I be doing it for free to gain this experience? I think in my instant, I did an internship with BBC Leicester, which I was very lucky with. Professors knew someone in the station who got me in, and then I was lucky I had a nice boss in Adam who then paid me freelance shifts. So I had that. But prior to uni, I'd done a hospital radio type
Oh, had you?
thing. presented some shows on there for free.
Mhm.
It was all voluntary basis. I'd done an internship with Eagle Radio. So there is stuff that you have to do, I think, for free, voluntary work to gain experience, to prove that you are legitimate about this, that you want to do this. And then as time goes on, you can charge.
So a lot of those experiences, like the stuff that I have done for free, have been invaluable. That I'm like, wouldn't change that for the world. And if I didn't do that or I didn't turn up there, then I wouldn't have known or met that person, or I wouldn't have got this other opportunity. So
Yeah.
like, but then as much as that, me and my friends say this all the time, you could turn up to like 10 things and only one out of them was like worth it, but you wouldn't have known if you didn't go to all 10. So you kind of,
Yeah.
sometimes you're a bit like, geez, like when is this, gonna start shifting?
Yeah. And they're all tiring. Like they all take your time.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be doing stuff that pays you in that time, but you choose to do them. And I think that does show passion and does prove that you're real about what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes to a time where people like take the mickey.
Yeah.
And you've just got to be aware of that.
And I think, again, not to play the female card, but I do think it is harder as a woman to be like, this is my value, this is my worth, this is what I deserve. You almost feel like I do sometimes feel like apologetic, or like I still get so much imposter syndrome going into certain spaces and being like,
but
"Oh,
why? Because you know you're good enough. So like, why do you think you feel like that?
do you not?"
Now I don't. Maybe I used to a little bit, yeah, when I was new and starting out, because I felt inexperienced, but never because I thought I was a woman.
More of a confidence thing, right?
Maybe.
Whereas because you've got this body of evidence now where you're like, I've done this and I've showed up and I've done this and it's performed well. There's no real reason for
Exactly.
you to be doubting yourself.
Yeah,
right?
I know I'm just as good as half, if not all of these people in this room. So, you know, why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Like there's no reason to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
It is confidence, I guess. And I think being in a male dominated industry has helped me with that. Like I'm not fussed about men's opinions, to be honest with you, because half of them don't know what they're talking about. Like seriously, I'm not. I've had enough like hits in me that I think I've got quite a tough skin now. And if it's someone that I care about, their opinion, yeah, will matter to me. But if it's someone off the street, no way.
Or someone online.
Exactly. Same thing, yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they don't have a profile picture.
Yep.
The name is some random,
Yeah.
God knows what, and they're filling out. And I'm also like, why? How have you got the time to sit there?
Sometimes they've got kids in their profile picture of like their daughter. I think, how on earth can you write something like that and you know, go and then say hi to your daughter? Like it blows my mind.
Especially when it's like, most of the time it'll be like an evening. I'm like, you're doom scrolling in the evening. You've just put your daughter to bed and you're like, do you know what I'm going to do now?
Yeah.
I'm going to go online and troll this female commentator or this female footballer or whoever it is. Like,
Yeah.
surely you've got...
I don't understand what they get out of it.
No.
But they'd never say that to my face, ever. And if they did, they'd have something come to them. But but they never would. They never would.
Has
So,
there ever been an instance where someone said something to you that's made you feel...
I don't think so. You definitely get looks. Like, for example, when I'm at a men's game, you're the only woman. I'm the only woman in that press room.
Still?
Yeah, still. It's at Watford the other week, only woman in that press room, apart from the press officer.
Wow.
You get all heads turn, and you feel that. You feel that, and I just think, yeah, well, I'm here.
Especially the ones that have been in the game for like a long time.
Yeah.
Very traditional.
The older men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at you from across the room. What are you looking at?
Do
What are you
give
doing?
the look back? Are you just like...
Sometimes, well, it's the same as like public transport. You know, when someone stares at you, you stare back at them.
Do you stare back?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it makes me... I feel so uncomfortable if somebody stares at me. And not that anyone does feel comfortable, but I'm literally... I'll be like...
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you,
Just stare back. Stare back at them. I'm not really.
until they look away.
First, yeah, until they look away.
So you're just...
It's a staring contest.
That's so
I got
good.
quite good at them as well.
Yeah. That's mad that you're still at times like the only woman in these rooms.
It doesn't happen at women's games
No.
because there's a lot of women in that field, and that's good. And they're slowly getting better and filtering into to the men's games. But yeah, still sometimes I am the only woman.
With the online stuff, I feel like you've been putting out a lot more social clips of you kind of doing those comms wrap ups. How's that been received from your side? Are you enjoying doing that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
loving it. It's good. It's got a really good response, I think, and it's really easy to do. You just obviously set up a camera and boom, it's done in 15 seconds. So I've had a really good response from it actually, and actually a lot of men positively responding to it. Some of them acting shocked, and I don't like that because it's like, wow, this woman can actually, talk about men's football.
It's a backhanded compliment,
A
isn't it, in a
backhanded
way?
compliment, exactly. But I'm glad it's come across well. I enjoy doing it. Um,
Do you think it's hard to wrap up in such a short amount of time? Because you have literally, how many seconds would it be for?
15,
Yeah,
10, and if it's in a commentary, it's 10, which is really tough.
that's so tough.
Yeah. There's a structure to it though that you get taught.
Okay, come on.
So it's score, player who scored, or players who scored, context, and then the score again.
But
And
even
that's
that
it.
took 10 seconds to
Yeah,
say.
I know. And then you've really got to cut out every single word that's not adding any benefit to it.
Do you get nervous when they're about to come to you? Are you sitting there like, whoa?
I think I did. I think you've got to imagine that you're just talking to whoever it is, Steve Crossman, Mark
Yeah.
Chapman. You've just got to imagine that it's just one person.
Will you just have like bullet points that you'll be like, okay, I need to hit those in
Yeah.
what I'm about to say?
Yeah, so for full time, I'll write bullet points of score, players who scored, like a 5-word sentence of context, and then the score again.
When you're in stadium,
Yeah.
because you'll have times where you're in the booth, right? And you'll
Yeah.
have times when you're in stadium. Do you think it's easier to get into it and like fully like go for it ham when there's a crowd and an atmosphere because there's noise versus like the idea of if I was sat there in a press box with my little mic and it was
Yeah.
like cricket.
Get a bit self-conscious
Do
of
you?
that. So if it's in a booth, it's fine because no one's around.
Mhm.
If it's at a game where there's not much crowd, not much atmosphere, and you're in the press box and there's other journalists around and it's quiet and a goal goes in, you've got to scream. And then everybody can hear you. And if you get it wrong, then it's mortifying. So I do get sometimes a little bit conscious of that.
Mhm.
But now I request to go up on the gantry,
Do you?
which is just for commentators and cameras and stuff like that.
So it's like a little union up there,
Yeah,
or you're
exactly.
riding solo anyway. So it's not as,
Yes. Yeah, so it's okay.
yeah. Because I think there's a difference, isn't there? And I don't know, like public settings when it's almost like you're the abnormal person in that
Mm,
setup. That's when it's uncomfortable.
yeah.
Like I get it with like the content side as well. Even creating content on my own at home when no one's like listening in, don't care. It's fine. If I'm in public and there's like random people in the street and I'm like, hi, I literally
Yeah.
want to die.
Because everyone's looking at you, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same
horrific.
sort of thing. But again, it's just a belief thing, I think, and just
Mm.
not caring about what anyone thinks and just kind of doing it.
If I was 16, half my age, and I was like, do you know what? I want to go into commentary. This
Mm,
is a thing that I want to do. What would you say? This is it. This is how the path that you should choose. I guess it's not linear at all, and
mm.
everyone has their own route. But if you were like step by step guide,
Yeah, it's tricky because there's not. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I think does that has a part to play in it. I'd say immerse yourself in the football world because anyone can do that. Know your stuff. Knowledge is crucial. Watch every game you can. Practice doing it on the telly. And then in terms of getting into it professionally, start at a local club. So, for example, I did things with Maidenhead United for free, voluntary basis. That's how you get your practice in. And then you can put some demos together. I'd say BBC local stations are a great training ground. They're great places to work. There's good people in there that have been doing it a long time that can help you too. And then from there, you build a name up for yourself in local radio, and then you go up and up and up and up, and then you go to national, 5 Live, and then from there, obviously, your name expands even more, and then more people pick you up, and then you get people like agents who come in and expand you even more. But I'd say to start, if you're 16, at school, I don't think a degree is necessary. It helped me in my case because it opened networking doors. But I think for the price of it,
Mm.
maybe it's not worth it. You can do it without a degree.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't if I was going to go back in time. I did an undergrad and a master's.
Mm,
I would rather not be paying that back.
yeah,
I'd rather, and I think it wouldn't have damaged me if I didn't do it.
yeah, I agree. I did journalism. I don't think the degree really helped me that much. It was
No.
more the people I met. So yeah, commentate at your local club, get some experience, put a demo together, and just fire it out to as many people as you can. Because the worst thing they're going to say is, "Sorry, I don't have time." But you might get 1 in 10 that looks at it, gives you some feedback, and you can go again. It's a grueling process, but then any job is, I guess.
And I guess as well with the likes of social media, obviously you're tapping into that now, but you already have the platform and the profile to do that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I think there's a lot of people that could be utilising that to put out there.
Yeah.
You don't have the resource or you're not in the right rooms, you create your own opportunities. I think that's always slept on a lot. I think people think that they need to have access to certain things to be like, I have to do this to be
Mhm.
able to put that out. And it's like, no, just start.
Well, I mean, my videos that I do, obviously I'm in a press box, but you could do them sitting in the stands
Hmm.
and just film yourself doing a 15-second match report and put it up on social media. You could pretend, and you never know where that can get you. And they're the exact skills that, BBC Radio are after, and you never know. Someone might pick you up and say, well, I'll train you, and then you just go up and up.
Do you have any like post match fatigue or like when you go from like the adrenaline of like a massive game?
Yeah.
Do you walk away a bit like, ooh, what do I do with myself now? Or are you okay with switching off?
Yeah. I think I get immediately after the game. Well, when you're in the game, you're buzzing. Your energy is sky high. And then because you're concentrating for 90 minutes, after that you like crash, or I do. I crash big time. Um, I need a nap
Do you?
almost, yeah, almost immediately, because you're so in it. You've used up all this energy. It's almost like a workout, I
I was going to say,
guess,
do you have
for
to
your
fuel for
mind.
it?
Uh, yeah, I guess you probably should.
You know how athletes would have like their match day routine of being like, or I don't know, match day -1, it's like, I'll have a pasta and then
Yeah.
do this. Like,
No,
what's
I'm
your
not that
match day
bad.
routine?
I don't have one, to be honest with you.
Coffee?
I'm not. Yeah, a coffee maybe. I don't do any energy drinks, but yeah, a coffee at half time,
Yeah.
and then yeah, a bit of a sit down at the
Little
end,
nap.
catch your breath. Yeah,
Do you have a preference between commentating between a men's game or a women's game?
I think it's a difficult question, because they're different to commentate on. I think obviously the main structure is the same, but in terms of how it's played, I think is different. The men's game is a lot faster. They move the ball a lot quicker, but the women's game, I think, is more technical, and it's kind of more set piecey, I think, personally, in how they do it. So f- for me, a radio commentary, I would prefer to watch a women's game because it's easier to flow because you're talking all the time. A men's game on TV, you can like stop and start. Personally, I prefer that, but I think it's different. It's different for everyone.
And what about the atmosphere that comes with it, the differences? Because there's
Yeah.
such a, yeah, I think they're worlds apart. Not that one is, I prefer one or the other, but I think, I don't know about you, like the
Mm.
difference in one, the fan attendance of like, not just in terms of numbers, but like the etiquette of fans at games. Like, what do you think is the difference between the atmosphere?
The men's game has a better atmosphere, in my opinion, because it's louder,
Mhm.
and that helps me and my job because you're kind of lifted with it.
Yeah, it's a buzz, right? An energy that you
Absolutely.
lift your, yeah.
Yeah. And when you don't have that atmosphere, you don't have as much energy, and then you sound less and you want to sound more. So personally, I prefer a men's atmosphere, but that doesn't mean that the women's atmosphere is bad at all. Like it's getting better. Also, you can drink now in
I know.
women's stadiums,
Woohoo.
which is a great is a positive.
Although I'm not at 12:30 p.m. kickoff, I'm not going to
Yeah,
be necking back the Aperols.
But it's getting better, and obviously Arsenal women have not just Arsenal women, but predominantly they've led the way in fan engagement, and they're selling out the Emirates Stadium, which is great. I think we need a bit more chanting and a bit more noise, but that will come with time, of course. Like, it's still years and years and years behind the men's game. Comparing the two,
There's
obviously men's.
tribalism
Yeah,
in the men's game more than I think.
yeah. I do think you need that.
Yeah.
I think you need the rivalry and you need the tribalism because that is what makes it so exciting. But there's
But it
ways of
doesn't need to
going
be
about
personal.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's the clear, distinct difference here.
Yeah.
Like, on the pitch.
You don't need to punch someone in the face.
No. What was the first game you ever commentated on?
Mm.
And what was your favourite game that you've ever commentated on?
My first game, you might not believe this, was a FA Cup final women's last season. Who was it? Chelsea, Manchester United at Wembley. That was a radio commentary. That was my first ever one.
Was it?
Yeah, for BBC London.
Wow.
Wanted to do it. They were like, we need a commentator for this. Great, I'll give it a go. So I did. I had a co-con with me who was really nice. So that was my first one.
Talk about throwing yourself in the deep
I
end.
know, but I guess you kind of have to in this job because there's no kind of...
No.
You're either... No, I think this is going to sound silly, but you're either commentating or you're not commentating and you've just got to do it, which I found difficult to start with. My favourite game to commentate on, actually the Liverpool one last weekend, the Mir Enderby 2 extra time goals was great because it was their first one of the season too. I did have a 5-2 Virtue Trophy game this season. I want to say it was Lincoln City again, or it was Notts County. It was one of them. And obviously 7 goals, like you don't have a lot of time to breathe.
That's mega.
I think a lot of them were in the second half too. You're constantly going for it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And you just scream the whole time.
What would be your dream game to commentate on?
Euros final.
Yeah.
A World Cup final. Easy. Yeah.
Men's or women's? Either.
Either or. I wouldn't mind. Still a long way to go yet, but it's not impossible. You know, Brazil, I think it's Brazil
Yeah,
coming up.
2027.
Yeah, hey, you never know. Obviously, there's people above me, Vicky Sparks, Robin Cowan, Jackie Oatley. There's massive commentators that are excellent at their job. But, you know, I'm 24. We'll see what the world throws at me.
I know, like another 10 years' time as well, think what you'll be doing. That's insane. And someone like, is there people that you looked up to or that you still listen into that you're like, I think they're unreal, like that's the sort of person I feel I want to be like?
Yeah, for sure.
Someone like Vicky Sparks. I'm a big fangirl of Vicky Sparks.
Yeah.
I think she's incredible.
And she's a really nice person as well. And she's helped me a lot of feedback, a lot of like, try this place, you know. And that's something I'd like to emulate going forward, like with people coming through as well, of course.
Take them under your wing a little bit.
Absolutely. But there's a lot of good, not just women, like Alistair Bruce Ball, I think is great. John Murray and Dennis, those sorts of people. Nick Godwin at BBC London, I think is fantastic.
The thing is, as well, everyone has their own unique little style. Which
exactly.
is so nice as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you found your style and you know who you are?
Not yet.
Still working it out?
Yeah, I'm still working it out probably. I've only been doing it for 4 or 5 months properly. There's little things that I'll take from people for sure, phrases that they'll use or how they call a goal or how they start the game, etc. But that's the fun about it as well. You can kind of mold yourself into whatever you want. I think the broadcasters now are better at, they'll hire you because they like your style. But yeah, some of them have different styles where they'll throw to, you know, the players walking out of the tunnel and then the home team and then the referee and then the away team, or some will do just the 2 teams and then the referee. There's all little details that probably the viewer doesn't even notice, but it happens. Yeah.
So then you're trying to structure like what's this?
Yeah, what's coming next. And also you've got, so like producer Rob, when I do the WSL games, in my ear going, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, can we get a picture of the manager? Can we get number 5? Like in your ear whilst you're commentating.
I think that's, for me, you mentioned about prep being the hardest thing. I think that is one of the hardest things, is having someone in your ear as a producer in your ear and trying to still not repeat what they're saying.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
I haven't actually, but that's sometimes actually, I'll give the producers a bit of credit here. They'll say something like, wow, that was a great goal or something. And then I'll repeat that. Or something like, wow, that was fantastic from this person. Or they'll say like a fact or something like, wow, I can't believe you just done that. And I'll use that phrase. Okay. So sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes that will happen.
What's the worst day at work that you've had in terms of like something went wrong or like something embarrassing or something that you're like, oh, still, that keeps me up at night still?
I think arriving late puts me in a bit of a flurry. I'm quite a calm person.
You're so calm.
Yeah, I don't really stress that much. But when I arrive late and I have a structure of what I need to do before the game starts, and when I haven't done that, that will put me into a bit of a tense mood, and I think you can hear that in my voice. So we'll always get there, set up, and you need to do team news is what I think people don't understand. So when people are talking to you, like chatting to you like before a game, like, "Hey, how are you?" It's like, "I'm great, but
I haven't got
I've
time.
got to get this team news out, otherwise I'm gonna have nothing to say." Um, so I like to shut myself in a little quiet corner,
Yeah.
do that, and then I'll chat.
Sometimes you feel like you're being rude if somebody comes up to you
Yeah,
and you're like, I've actually got like a deliverable that I have to do before this. So
yeah,
like, just leave me
exactly.
alone for
Yeah,
2 seconds. I'm
yeah.
like, yeah.
Got to work out formations and stuff. So, but once that's done, it's fine. But arriving late makes that a bit more difficult.
What are like the commentary must-haves, the things that you're like, I want to hold on to these? And then what are the things that you're like, that does not work. We need to leave those behind. I don't want to fall into those bad habits.
So the good things that I want to keep are like the fun and the energy and the banter between myself and the co-com, not overdoing it because I think you can overdo it and then it becomes a bit cringy. But for example, maybe like a quiz question for like Fallon Joyce, the Manchester United goalkeeper, an avid bird watcher. Did you know this?
She's scuba diving as well,
Scuba
right?
diving,
Mate,
exactly.
she's the most multifaceted woman.
Yeah, and that's great for me because I've got more stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So I used a quiz question with Helen Ward. How high can an alligator jump out of water? Found this out through Fallon Joyce.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know? In
No,
feet?
please enlighten
6
me.
feet.
6?
6 feet they can jump high. So I use that on the radio and I want to keep that sort of fun,
Yeah.
energetic, bit of banter between the two. So I want to keep that and like energy. If you think you've got enough energy, you don't. Like you can always do more and you always sound less, in my opinion, or in my personal experience, less than you think you are.
Yeah.
Like when I think I'm screaming at a goal, when I listen back to it, it's average. Bad habits.
Or things that you just don't think land very well. You're like, it's a bit outdated. Want to leave that behind. New era of comms.
Well, obviously like little phrases that put women down. They said Ella Toon's got a face like a slapped
Slapped ass.
slapped
Something like
ass.
that, yeah.
Obviously not the worst comment in the world, but you could leave it out.
Yeah.
Um
And the timing of it as well was so
Yes.
tone deaf.
Yes, of course. I've done this, and also other people do this, is just screaming, "There's a chance. There's a chance." And like that, especially on the radio, it's like, what does that look like? Like every time there's a chance or there's a goal, screaming, "There's a chance for Liverpool," like is not,
Like,
in my opinion, not
yeah.
great. Like describe it or come up with another phrase.
Give a bit of colour to it because
Give a bit of colour to it. Screaming a chance. So if you hear me scream a chance, then you can give me some stick online.
that's the only bit of permission that you've got.
Yeah, exactly.
Such an interesting job. I feel like there's so much to it. Barely probably scratched the surface of it, but I'm excited to. I love seeing your wrap ups and I love seeing all of
Thank
that sort
you.
of stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more. And I'll see you in Brazil.
Yeah, see you in Brazil, 2027.
I won't be co-commentating, but I'll be supporting.
You never know that. You never know.
I don't think I've got it in me. I would love to.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I've got it in me. My concern is that I'd probably accidentally swear on live
Okay.
broadcast.
Yeah.
I won't be fighting for your spot.
It's okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.